Hello, and welcome to the Big Tuna channel. First off, it is a beautiful night outside, alright? The moon is shining brightly, a loon looks absolutely gorgeous. I hope it is as beautiful wherever it is you may be. It can be in another country, it could be right next door to my house, wherever it is. I hope it is absolutely lovely outside. With AWC ending and Season 4 finally getting broken into, I found it to be a proper time to make a guide video on a very popular healer right now, and that is Holy Priest. This guide is going to focus on all forms of PvP, be it your solo shuffles, 3v3s, and my personal favorite RBGs. There are timestamps in the video in case you want to go to a specific segment, otherwise get your notepad out and get ready to learn how to play Holy Priest. Pros and cons. We have a lot of pros, not that many cons. First off, great healing. We have a lot of healing. We have a lot of healing cooldowns, strictly for throughput, which is absolutely amazing. CC avoidability is something that all healers have, kind of gotten in this expansion. Some form of, CC mitigation, be it directly or indirectly through some spell of use that is pretty unique in its own ability. Holy Priest has a lot of honor talents that make it so we do not get CC'd, and Shadow or Death is kind of the unique way in the sense of it's a little trick skill cap here as a priest. Alright, something you gotta learn when you play a priest healer is learning how to Shadow or Death incoming crowd control effects, specifically break on damage effects. So this is your penances, your polymorphs, your hexes, your fears. Shadow or Death, obviously, as you know, it damages you if you fail to kill a target. So you purposely Shadow or Death thing before someone finishes their cast on you. Boom, you take damage from the Shadow or Death, it'll break the crowd control that is on you. Alright, it's a pretty unique way to avoid CC. Great offense. Again, something that all healers have kind of gotten, not all healers, okay, I shouldn't say that. Most healers in Dragonflight have gotten some form of offensive toolkit, which is absolutely amazing. I think offensive pressure when it comes to healers speeds up the games, and it makes healers themselves not want to, commit literal suicide because they're just sitting there spamming healing all games. Like, dude, I want to do something else. I want to feel like I'm actually a part of the game. I want to feel like I can influence the game when I need to. And, that's where Holy Priest comes in. I think Holy Priest definitely has one of the better offensive toolkits. We have damage. Our holy fires are hitting for like 100k normal, kind of minimum, honestly. Mines are hitting for 100 plus k. We have a stun, Holy Word Chastise, which has some unique interactions when it comes to CDR. Constantly spamming smites is going to reduce the cooldown of our chastises, meaning we're going to have stun up pretty much constantly. I'd say minimum every 20 seconds if we're just spam casting it. We also have some damage interactions when it comes to Holy Word Chastise. Not only does Holy Word Chastise itself do a lot of damage, it does like 150k damage. It also interacts with your Holy Fires. There is a talent that makes it so whenever you do chastise someone, you get 2 instant cast Holy Fires, alright? Which also reduces the cooldown of your chastise. It is absolutely wonderful. Alright, you're not only getting crowd control, you're getting damage. Alright, it's the best of both worlds. And then of course we have Psychic Scream and Purges. A lot of cooldowns. Holy Priest has like 6 cooldowns they rotate through. Alright, it's pretty darn nice. And all of them are throughput cooldowns. All of them heal my targets. Alright, now yes, that's a good and a bad thing, but overall, it's just a lot of throughput, and that's ultimately what, makes a good healer, is how much throughput do you have. Good survivability makes it so you are very, very rarely the kill target, alright? Holy Priest has pretty much 30% damage reduction passively. All priests do, so it already makes it harder to target me. We also have some damage mitigation talents in our regular class tree, which offers some bit of aid, which is pretty nice. But yeah, Holy Priest is never really the target of choice when it comes to killing. Alright, unless you're in 2v2 and it's just a DPS race, which, at that point, I mean, it's not really a Holy Priest specific. But other than that, yeah, we have good survivability. We're never really going to be the kill target in anything. Unfortunately, we have some cons, not that many, but bear with me now, alright? One of them being Purges. Purges obviously screw over every healer, alright? What what class does not purge and what class doesn't get screwed over by purges. All right, pretty sure everyone does. But specifically for Holy Priest, it definitely feels a lot worse. Now, as we just read our tier set revolves around our renews. What our renews do gives us these little sacred reverences. Makes it so we do not consume a charge of our serenity, almost said sanctify, our serenity and our sanctifies. And it makes them cost 50% less mana. If I do get another charge here, hopefully I do at some point, we'll kind of see a little bit of an interesting effect. There we go, we got a charge. We got 2 charges here. When I'm at 2 charges, if I were to consume one of these, the spell, my Serenity or my Sanctify, will cost 100% less mana. And then my next one I use will cost 50% less mana. A lot of people kind of forget that it is a stacking effect. But yeah, purges, alright? When our renews are constantly getting purged off and we're not getting any Sacred Reverence procs, it definitely feels really, really rough. Because remember, these are the reason why we're getting so many Serenities off, and when we're not getting these procs very often because our renews keep on falling off because we have dragons and their stupid triple purge, and we have shamans and priests and mages spell stealing, it is definitely a world of pain. We are losing access to not only mana conservation, but losing access to what could be a lot of Serenity healing. So that's out the window. It sucks when we're facing purge teams. Mortal Strikes definitely feel the worst to go against when it comes to Holy Priest, alright? Holy Priest, as I said in the pros, we have a lot of cooldowns. These cooldowns being throughput cooldowns. Now, if you kind of notice when you look through the Holy Priest cooldowns, we don't really have anything that reduces damage, alright? Disciplined Priests have Pain Suppression and Dome. Resto Shamans have Earth in the Wall Totem. Let's see, we have Dragons have Time Dilation. Druids in their Iron Bark. Yes, we don't have any damage mitigation cooldowns, and that's really where damage mitigation comes in handy when you're facing Mortal Strike effects. Because when your healing falls short, guess what? You have damage reduction. But Holy Priest doesn't have that, alright? So it feels really rough facing any class with the Mortal Strike. You just kind of sit there and out heal the Mortal Strike. It's pretty much impossible, but you know what? You put your mind to it, you can do anything. As I say, racism makes the world go round, and there are some better races than others. Right now, it is Undead. Undead is hot because we have our racial, which removes sleep, charms, and fear effects. Alright, we pop this, we get out of Psychic Scream, and we have our real trinket coming in 30 seconds. Alright, usually whenever priests become rampant in World of Warcraft PvP, everyone kind of goes undead because, well, that is the natural counter to priests, is having a trinket that removes their great CC known as Psychic Scream. Alright, it's awesome. Right next to Undead is always going to be Night Elf. Night Elf is just another way to avoid CC. Shadow Meld is pretty great. It is used to, it's basically just feign death as a racial. You want to ignore a giant Chaos Bolt coming to your face? Boom, you Shadow Meld it, and that Chaos Bolt cast will be gone, lost in the wind. Alright, you want to avoid a Hodge? Boom, you Shadow Meld it, and that will just go completely through your body. Alright, that is amazing. Shadow Meld is awesome. So, Night Elf, if you're an Alliance person, and Undead, if you are a Horde person. Other than that, not really any other options really worth talking about, alright? Unless you want to be furry, like a Volpera, or a this thing, whatever this race is, and yeah, go ahead. Having the best equipment is by far the most important thing no matter what class you're playing. Everything related towards gear we're going to talk about right now following your stats. Alright, we are going Mastery followed by Haste or Versatility, then Critical Strike. Now why Mastery, Big Tuna? What is so important? Well, it's very important because, I'm just going to spoil it for you, it is going to be your top healing by miles, not by 400,000, not by, 700,000, I'm talking about millions, alright? That's how good your Mastery is. Mastery, Echo of Light. Your direct healing spells heal for an additional 37.8% over 4 seconds. Obviously the number varies, depending on what level of mastery you have. But this is awesome. So if I heal for, a big old Serenity for like 400k, for me it's about 40% of my mastery. That's the number we're working with in PvP. 40% of that 4,400 Serenity that I just hit will be healed additionally over time for me, over 4 seconds, every 2 seconds. So I say, boom, big ol' Serenity, I'm getting 60,000 healing every 2 seconds over the course of 4 seconds. That's 120 extra healing, 120,000 extra healing. That is amazing, and that's proccing off of everything you do. Not Renew, because Renew is a heal over time, it's not a direct heal, but other than that, your Flash Heals, your Prayer Mendings, your Sanctifies, your Serenities, your Divine Hymns, all that good stuff is going to be proccing your mastery on everyone. Everyone's going to be getting a buttload of master healing, and you're going to look at your details and you're going to see, yeah, this is just through the roof. It is absolutely amazing. Haste of versatility. I would say for you, for your character, the wisest decision for you to do is to be generous with the amount of haste you're going to get. 15% is kind of the nice little mark that we're working with. 15% is not too high, it's not too low. It's good enough for Holy Priest where you can smooth out those instant cast globals, you can smooth out the cooldown of your Prayer Mending. Your Prayer Mending will be on a little bit of a shorter cooldown, and it's still a pretty impactful heal that we press. So 15% is the kind of angle that I would say is the best for the kind of balance between your mastery and haste. I opted to go for versatility. In previous seasons, I went for a lot of haste as well on my healers. I played Holy Priest, Resto Shaman, and Holy Paladin, and although it felt great, I didn't really feel any real issues with them. I definitely did feel some bit of a lacking sustain when it came to not having the high amount of versatility, because versatility is so boring. Like, I don't want versatility, I want cool stuff like haste. You know, I'm a sucker for haste. I love being fast, having fast globals. But this season I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go down the same route. I'm gonna go for a bit more for versatility, and I don't really feel the big downsides of not having the 15% haste. But for the effectiveness of your character, I would say the 15% haste is going to value you way more than it does for my character. Did you wash ass? All right. So in terms of your gear, we'll talk about tier first, since tier kind of sets up the whole way you kind of gear everything else. You can go 2 ways. I opted to go for the crafted helm with the shoulders, chest, gloves, and pantalones. With the crafted helm, it gives you 1,000 extra mastery. This is the engineering helm that you can craft. Once you get engineering, you can just craft it. No really requirements there. It's an absolutely amazing helm. It just has a buttload of mastery, as you just heard. Mastery is amazing. I honestly, this is probably my favorite mastery effect out of any healer. All right, that's how good Holy Priest Mastery is. All right, so you could go this route, or you could go a different route. You could keep the tier helm. All right, it has that, you know, crit haste. Crit, no one cares about the haste. That's a buttload of haste. That's gonna, you know, aid you on your little journey to get 15% haste or whatever haste you're comfortable with. And you can keep the Conquest chestplate since it has versatility and mastery. So yeah, those are 2 options you can go. I opted to go for the crafted helm because I like seeing big numbers, and that 1,083 mastery is a pretty big number I love to see. Embellishments are pretty simple. We have precog, which is by default you need precog, and then I went for the Blue Dragon Souls. Now this does have some competition. I'll explain the differences between the 2, but I'll explain the Blue Dragon Souls first. I love this ever since, you know, I first discovered this was a thing. I was like, dude, I love this. This is awesome. Every time you get some exercise in, you will build up these charged souls stacks, and this gives you by default just like an extra flat out 2492 intellect, which is pretty massive. And the next spell you use, be it damage or healing, it'll consume all the charged soul stacks, and guess what, it'll just increase the effectiveness because it's your primary stat. All right, it'll make it do more damage or make it do more healing. Now the reason why I opted to go for this was because it offers aid to both those damage and healing situations, whereas the other embellishment people go is Blue Silken Linen. Blue Silken Linen is the embellishment that makes it so you get 1,000 extra mastery when you are above that 90% threshold. Now, with that, you would get more mastery healing, definitely. You would get a lot more mastery healing, alright? That's great. But I opted to go for the Charged Souls because not only does it offer a little bit more offensive pressure, because if I'm using these stacks on my Holy Fires, I'm going to be doing more damage. If I use it on a healing spell, if the actual direct heal of my healing spell is larger then guess what? The mastery effect of the healing spell will be larger. So although I'm not getting the insane amount of mastery healing from the charged souls as I would be with the blue silk and linen, I'm still kind of getting more indirect mastery healing because the actual heal itself is more because of the primary stat increase. So that's kind of why I opted to go for the charged souls. It kind of is like the best of all worlds for my damage, for my healing, whereas the blue dragon souls is kind of just full sending its effectiveness on healing, which I didn't really want to do. I wanted to have a nice bit of balance with my playstyle, so that's why I opted to go for the blue dragon souls. But it is completely up to you what you want to do. Of course, got to get your enchants, your chest enchant, your leg enchants. It's just extra intellect, it's extra mana. I could care less about, you know, the boots, the cape, the bracers. I only spend my money, my hard-earned gold on what really is important, and just random 125 speed does not benefit me at all in the arena. I don't care for it. Alright, gems are pretty standard. You're going to go for your 70 mastery or your 70 mastery, 30 haste, or 30 versatility. For the necklace, I opted to go for all three, just full on mastery gems because I love mastery. Of course, we are rocking a proc trinket. We're not running primary stat on use trinket. That just is never going to be good for Holy Priest. There's no interaction with it, so that's why we don't take it. And we also have the option to go for a PvE trinket. Unfortunately, PvE is something that is impactful in PvP now. Alright, you're probably ripping your hair out right now. But yes, there is a ring called Seal of Filial Duty. This is a ring that you get from getting a certain currency called Bullion Coins. If you go to Group Finder here, you go to Raid Finder, you can see that there are these Awakened Raids. And these Awakened Raids drop these Bullion Coins. You go turn them into a vendor right about here. Wow, I have a vault, I didn't realize that. You turn them into right about here, somewhere around here. And some lady will sell you a Seal of Filial Duty for 2 Bullion Coins. Now you have to upgrade this since it is PvE garbage. You have to upgrade it for 14 times. So you have to do games above 2400 and I think do +6s, mythic keys, in order to get currency and be able to actually upgrade it up to 14 item level, or 14 levels, 14 times. And that will be higher than your conquest item level gear. And if you think 1000 mastery is amazing on this, bro, this thing has like 1400 mastery. Like, it is absolutely insane. It is a crazy good ring for anyone who benefits off of mastery. However, I left all my desires and willingness to do PvE in the BFA expansion, and it's going to stay there. So I could care less about having this stupid ring on my character. The gears and gizmos of your class, it is your talents. Alright, I won't explain everything because you have eyes, you have a working brain, you have some form of education because you are an esteemed WoW player. You can understand why certain talents are picked by default just by reading them. Alright, I'll only explain the potential comments, questions, concerns. Pretty sure it's questions, comments, concerns, but I'll say it my way. Protective Light over From Darkness Comes Light. Alright, I like the 10% damage reduction from Protective Light. From Darkness Comes Light, we're already getting so many procs of our flash heal that this isn't really building up to any considerable number to make it, you know, really useful. Alright, and 50% even for like this entire buildup is not really that great at all. Plus, you can't really spread your Shadow Word Pains as efficiently as a Discipline Priest with Purge the Wicked and Penance. So it's not really that effective for Holy Priest. So 10% damage reduction it is. I personally love Void Tendrils, right? Void Tendrils is a root that you cannot get out of unless you break it, or unless, say, you know, Paladin freedoms you. Otherwise, it cannot be cleansed. Alright, your healer cannot cleanse it. You have to break it yourself. No, it's not invincible, alright? It breaks the AoE damage, yes. But when we're hitting someone, it could be like a DH, you know, we're hitting someone behind a pillar. It's like, hey, let me just root this guy, and he can't get out because he has to damage it in order to get out. So there are some people who don't understand that that's how it works. So they try to, like, you know, they try to, you know, like, healer, where's my cleanse at? You know, I get that so many times in RBGs. Like, bro, Tuna, cleanse me. Like, I can't. It's not a dispellable root. You have to kill it. So I personally do like it. It is pretty nice. But Bashir Terror is definitely a lot better. any talent for any class that allows you to have extra damage required to break the specific crowd control is most likely going to be taken. All right. Holy Nova. Holy Nova is only taken for one specific reason, and that is your Chastise. Your Chastise has interactions to reduce the cooldown, one of them being Smite, but another one being Holy Nova. Alright, so the only time I'm casting this is when I want to get my Chastise off cooldown, and it's if I can't, if I can't get any cast of Smite off, if I don't want to be kicked, or this guy is just LOSing me, I can just spam Chastise, I can spam Holy Nova, and I'll get my cooldown back just as quickly if I were to be casting Smite. Alright, that's the only reason why I take it. This side of the tree right here is something I do favor. Spell Warding or Blessed Recovery, it's totally up to what you're facing. You're facing physical damage, be it range or melee. Blessed Recovery, magic is your Spell Warding. Alright, 3% damage reduction for magic is pretty nice. Wards to Pious, only really take it for RBGs or for 2v2 if I'm feeling, pretty into the offensive pressure. 10% additional damage and healing with Smite and Holy Nova for 12 seconds after casting Power Word Shield. It's just memey, if I'm in RBGs, I don't feel like I need to heal that much because the team we're facing is a team you've already beat numerous times, then, I don't really have anything to worry about. I want to get more Smite damage. I want to get more damage, I'm that guy. Alright, but otherwise, not really taking this consistently as these other talents. Inspiration is something really good. Physical damage reduction whenever you are critting a flash heal, or serenity, which at some point they're going to be critting, so you're pretty much just going to have 5% damage reduction, physical damage reduction on your target for 15 seconds, for almost the entirety of the game. Alright, this is going to be up a lot. Alright, I personally love it. Mental Agility, more so of an RBG talent, reduces mana cost to Purify and Mass Dispel by 50% and Dispel Magic by 10%. It makes your Mass Dispel from 20,000 mana to 10,000 mana, which is a pretty big difference. Makes it so you don't go by spam purging and spamming Purify. You have an auto talent that gives you 2 charges of your Purify, so this definitely does help a lot with that. So you're not just constantly, cleansing and constantly going It definitely does help with that greatly. 1 minute Leap of Faith is something I personally love. It's for RBGs. Having 1 minute Leap of Faith in RBGs is pretty damn nice. I just have Life Grip for anyone who really needs it. In RBGs, any moment in the game can be a scary moment, so having Life Grip coming down off cooldown really kind of mitigates that entire pressure, because if they want to kill so-and-so, they have to push into our backline, and we have some really strong hitters that are our range DPS, and they will just instantly nuke anyone who gets a little bit too ahead of themselves. So that's why I like the 1 minute move with Grace, Leap of Faith. And arenas, I still like it. You don't have to take it, you can take something else completely, but I like it because, 1 minute, I'm a sucker for 1 minute cooldowns, so, that's why I opted to go with 1 minute Leap of Faith for all my shenanigans. Coming down here, nothing really too important. These talents right here, obviously never taking Divine Star or Halo. I really wish these were good in today's time, but they're just not. Don't really care about Crystalline Reflection. Light's Inspiration, I'll only put 1 point in this. These 2 talents right here, I don't feel like they're worth taking, simply for the fact that it's just kind of overkill for your self-sustain, which you already have enough self-sustain, unless it's 2v2s. In 2v2s, if you feel like you really need Angelic Bulwark, because it is usually going to be a healer kill race, then you can take Angelic Bulwark, you can take all these talents out if you really want to, and then kind of put them as you so please, boom, boom. If you don't want 1 minute Leap of Faith, boom. Or maybe you don't want Void Tendrils, alright? Whatever talents you want to switch out, switch them out. Me personally, I could care less about this. I'll have 1 point Light's Inspiration if I feel like I really need the extra support to make my Desperate Prayer a bit stronger. Other than that, I'm not really full sending the 2 points and Angelic Bulwark. That's just not something I am, amazed with. Mind Games is really bad. Mind Games, it's not a 2v2 thing, it's not a 3v3 thing, it's just bad in general. It just does no considerable damage or, healing prevention to really make it worth your while. So that's why I don't take it. You can take Throes of Pain if you really want to. Again, take out these talents however you so please, and then put them into Throes of Pain. This is, again, better for RBGs. You're getting more Shadow Word Pain damage, and if targets do die with your Shadow Word Pain, you get 1% mana back. That is definitely very nice. Alright, this other stuff, Mind Control, Apathy, It's good stuff. It's decent stuff. You can go this route, or you can go, Void Tendrils, Sanguine Teachings, and Apathy, whatever. Having the slow is pretty nice. Having a slow as a healer, be it through any means possible, is actually pretty beneficial when you play with the slow. You can kind of feel the difference of hey, I'm a healer, I have a 75% slow. If I crit this attack, it definitely does feel pretty nice. So do with that as you please. I don't take mind games because I have just had the worst luck with mind games, alright? Or mind control. I'll mind control the healer. I'm like, yeah, dude, he's under my spell. And then, like, a second later, my DPS would just get one shot. And, ever since then, I just opted to take mind control out of my life. I only take this for RBGs if I want to run people off of either Storm or Lumbermill. Other than that, not really messing around with that too much. I'm kind of liking the little bit of baseline protection when it comes to your spell warding, blessed recovery, and inspiration. And then of course, improved purify. If you're facing a disease class, you gotta have purify. All right, that's pretty much goes without saying. Angel's Mercies versus Binding Heals. Literally, it's a kind of a no-brainer. Angel's Mercy. Binding Heals, if this was a little bit better, 20% of flash heal or healing on other targets also heals you. Not that impactful. If it had some interaction with like renew or something, maybe it'd be a little better, But other than that, yeah, Angel's Mercy. 20-second CDR on your Desperate Prayer is pretty impactful. Desperate Prayer is one of the, it's kind of your self-sustained button, so having a shorter cooldown on that is definitely very worth the while. Your Holy Priest tree doesn't change pretty much at all, alright? That's a good thing and it's a bad thing. The good thing is it doesn't need to change because it's already so good, it's already so amazing. But the sad part about it is that it doesn't change, meaning you're kind of just seeing the same build every single time you open up your Talents tree, and it gets unexciting very, very quickly. It's like if you change anything about it, you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot because this is like the best of the best. It's kind of just by default. It's like Blizzard imagined this. Like Blizzard said, these exact talents you're going to take, you're not going to take them out, alright? It's kind of how they designed Holy Priest. So, going down the list again, you are smart. You can understand why we take certain things by default, so I won't go too much into detail with them. Guardian Angel versus Guardians of the Light. It's a pretty big no-brainer. When Guardian Spirit saves the target from death, it does not expire. Guardian Spirit offers 60% increased healing on that target for 10 seconds. So if Guardian does, save someone from death, that effect will still linger on them. So if I'm 4 seconds in my Guardian and they proc it, damn it, that sucks. I'll still have 6 seconds of that 60% increased healing on my target. So if they're dead, I can get them back up so they don't die again. So that's why Guardian Angel is pretty good. We also have some CDR on it. If Guardian finishes its duration without saving the target from death, its remaining cooldown is reduced to 60 seconds, alright? From a 3-minute cooldown to a 1-minute cooldown is impactful. This makes Guardian Spirit our biggest cooldown to press, alright? It is amazing. Guardians of the Light, having Guardian on you and an ally, it's basically just what it twins with the Sun Priestess. It's just not that great. It's just not, and there's really no use for this, because you're not both going to be dying, alright, unless that's just how the game is. You're not both going to be dying, so there's no really real point in having this. Benediction over Holy Mending. Again, pretty no-brainer, unfortunately. Benediction, your prayer mending has 12% chance to leave a renew on each target heals. Again, you guys know our tier set. We'll look at it one more time. It revolves heavily around your renews. So any ways to get your renews out, freely with prayer mending is beneficial. There's no downside to it. You have Holy Mending, which whenever your prayer mending jumps to targets with your renew, it will be instantly healed for 10,000. It's just not good. It's just not good healing. If it was actually good healing, I would take this in a heartbeat, but it's not good healing. It's pretty weak. So Benediction is going to be the main thing for this little talent node here. Coming down here, not really much to talk about as well. Apotheosis versus Holy Word Salvation. This is pretty standard. Apotheosis 100%. Holy Word Salvation, it's just kind of like one of those spells that randomly has the longest cooldown and has some CDR attached to it. Like I don't know why Blizzard likes adding these little troll spells in. I don't know why. Holy Word Salvation heals all allies within 40 yards for 34,000 and applies Renew and 2 stacks of Prayer of Mending to each of them. Alright. Cooldown reduction 15 seconds when you cast Holy Word Serenity or Sanctify. It's just like, it doesn't do good healing. I mean, 2 stacks of Prayer of Mending, you know, Renew. I honestly wanted to try this out in an RBG, but I never got around to it. So maybe what is today? Thursday? Maybe this Friday when RBGs do start up, I will try this out for the memes. But yeah, Apotheosis is going to be, you know, one of your bigger cooldowns. For the next 20 seconds, your Serenity, your Sanctify, you get an extra charge of them when you pop this, and their cooldowns reductions are increased by 300%, meaning if you just cast a spell related to its CDR, you'll get it back legit instantly. You know, I'm not really joking when I say that. And their mana cost is reduced by 100%. So not only is this, you know, mana conservation, it's faster rotations on those Holy Word casts, and yeah, it's just extra, it's more healing. It's an amazing cooldown, so, you know, it's important to know when and how you should use this, alright? Again, this also does affect your Holy Word Chastise, because it is a Holy Word spell, so you're going to be getting your stun back even faster than you already are, alright? So, yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And then, Lightwell versus Lightweaver, you can already guess why we're taking Lightwell. Lightwell is just amazing, 2-minute cooldown. Creates a holy Lightwell every 1 second. The Lightwell will attempt to heal a nearby party or raid member within 40 yards that is lower than 50% HP for 49,000 and apply a Renew to them for 6 seconds. Lightwell lasts for 2 minutes or until it heals 15 times. Has CDR with Serenity and Sanctify for 3 seconds. Alright, this is monstrous. You know, in previous seasons, I was just really mad that this was even in the game because it's just that bad. You know, it had the potential to be so good, you know, and now they finally realized the potential, and it is amazing. It offers a lot of healing. It offers a lot of safety healing. All right, we place Lightwell down. Or place it right here. I don't know where my macro is, but place it right here. You know, I'm getting stunned. You know, I'm getting crowd controlled. My DPS is falling below that 50% threshold. This Lightwell will give me that safety net of healing. Alright? No, it's not going to make them invincible. It's not going to make them, you know, just live for the next 40 years. No, but this will buy me some time if I want to play the greed card with my trinket. You know, it buys me time, which is absolutely amazing. And it itself heals a lot. I mean, I think like the max Blessed Bolt I've gotten from Lightwell, it was like a 268k. It heals a lot. Alright, so make sure you're getting good Lightwell value. Alright, because this can make or break your healing output. The only talents I change with the Holy Priest tree is Divine Word and Lightwell. Now, when it comes to Lightwell and Divine Word, there's only one circumstance I'm changing this in, and it's 2v2s, alright? Any other scenario, I am picking Lightwell over Divine Word every single day, but 2v2s, you know, everyone's going to be away from my Lightwell because we're running down our kill target, alright? We're chasing this guy to the ends of the earth, so we're going to kill him. And most likely we're going to be out of range of my Lightwell, so that's why I opt to take Divine Word in 2v2s, because Divine Word is actually a really good spell, but it's just the case of good and better. You can tell which one's good and better. So Divine Word. The effectiveness of your next Holy Word spell is increased by 30%, meaning my Holy Word Serenity or my Holy Word Sanctify will do more healing, and my Chastise will do more damage, alright? Now, what this also does is that it gives me a enhancement depending on what spell I use. So for 15 seconds, if I use Serenity, it'll give me Flash Heal, and Renew healing for 30% more, and 20% less mana cost. That is amazing. For the next 15 seconds, I have mana conservation, which you can feel it immensely with that 20% less mana, and I get more healing. Flash Heal is a major spell that you're using constantly. You're getting so many instant cast procs, you're just going to get so much extra healing. It is amazing. Sanctify is definitely the weaker link when it comes to Divine Word. Blesses the target area, healing up to 5 allies for 136,000 over 15 seconds. That's pretty baloney. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty weak sauce. No one's even gonna be standing in it, so that's why it is not good. And Chastise is also a pretty good talent as well. Chastise increases your damage done by 20% and increases, it refunds 15 seconds from the cooldown of Holy Word Chastise. That is great. Not only are you going to get Chastise back even faster, you're going to be doing 20% more damage, which means when you pop this with Chastise, your Holy Fire is going to crank. I mean, with this, I was hitting Holy Fires for like 215,000. Like that's how much I was cranking with Divine Word Chastise, right? It was great. There are some Holy Priests that run Circle of Healing. They'll run it all the way down here to Orison, or Horizon, whatever the hell you bloody pronounce that. And the purpose for this is you have Healing Chorus, which whenever your renews heal, whenever your renews tick, it'll give you increased healing, stacking up 20 times, alright? So let me just take this here. I don't know what they take out in order to take this. Which that is the main reason why I don't take it, because you just have to take out so much good stuff. Like, I mean, I'm kind of like assuming, let's see, Enlightenment, maybe these prayer and mending talents, whatever. I'm not going to change them out. But it'll go down to Horizon. Horizon Circle of Healing heals one additional ally and reduces the cooldown of it by 3 seconds. So it'll be a 11-second cooldown. And it's just going to be doing some pretty big healing. For me, when I'm getting the full stacks, it's healing for about like 80,000 plus. On 5 injured allies, and that's pretty okay, but that's just basically a Sanctify, which is why I could care less about Circle of Healing. It's basically it's just basically a Sanctify. I could get more value from Sanctify than Circle of Healing. So I don't take it. I don't feel like it's good. I don't feel like it's something that you really need. You don't really need this extra bit of healing. You already do enough healing as it is, and you already have the same interaction with Sanctify. I can just press Sanctify, and boom, everyone's healed for 80,000. Even more, because that's how much it just heals, a little bit more than 80,000. So yeah, that's why I don't really take Circle of Healing. But I mean, if you want to mess around with it, go ahead. And if you're an idiot, all these other talents, like no one's ever taken these casted talents. Cosmic Ripple, never been good. Trail of Light, yeah, it's garbage. Experimenting talents are not as impactful nowadays. Yeah, this is legit just the only build you can run for Holy Priest. Alright, it's pretty, yeah, like I said, it's pretty unexciting. Honor talents are pretty standard, but you do have some flexibility with your last talent point. Spirit of the Redeemer is a lock-in. Spirit of the Redeemer, what does this do? Naturally, when you die as a Holy Priest, you'll turn into an angel. And from this angel form, you could heal your allies, however they may need. But we have a talent, Spirit of the Redeemer, that allows us to enter that spirit form whenever we want to. Of course, when we die, we won't be able to enter that spirit form anymore, but we can enter it willingly on a 2-minute cooldown. Alright, Spirit of Redemption is now an active ability with a 2-minute cooldown, but the duration is reduced by 9 seconds, and you will no longer enter Spirit of Redemption upon dying. So if I enter an angel form, I am untargetable, I cannot be harmed, not interrupted, not CC'd, whatever, for the next 8 seconds, alright? Or for the next 9 seconds, sorry. So you can see me right here, boom, I'm below Valkyrie, I cannot be touched. Now, you cannot heal yourself, so, make sure that when you do enter this form, you have some bit of health to work with, otherwise, the minute you get out of that form, they're just going to kill you. So, definitely do be wary of that. However, this is just absolutely amazing. This is a lock-in talent you cannot play. This is basically the cooldown for Holy Priest that you play around the most, alright? This is your way of guaranteed getting heals out. Guaranteed keeping your team alive. Seraphic Crescendo, alright? Reduces the cooldown of Divine Hymn by 60 seconds and causes it to channel 50% faster. Additionally, the healing bonus from Divine Hymn now lasts an additional 10 seconds. Alright, this is paired with your Spirit of Redemption. As you can see, they both 2-minute cooldowns, boom and boom. And Divine Hymn is going to do a lot of healing. This is especially impactful in your RBGs. This is going to do a lot of healing. This is going to give your team a lot of healing increase. Alright, 30% healing increase for the next 30 seconds is absolutely wild. Alright, it's amazing. So, you're always pairing these two up together. Again, this is kind of the 2 cooldowns that you are playing around the most. The minute you hop out of your Spirit of Redemption, you're immediately thinking, alright, I got 2 more minutes left on my Spirit of Redemption. Alright, that's how good this cooldown is. Alright, it's game changing for Holy Priest. Your last talent point you have some flexibility with. I'll kind of explain some stuff here. Phase Shift is kind of the by default talent that everyone picks. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Phase Shift. It only just does good things. Step into the shadows when you cast Fade, avoiding all attacks and spells for 1 second. Interrupting effects are not affected by Phase Shift. Again, this is basically just Greater Fade, but this is Greater Fade's little cousin. Alright, instead of 3 seconds, it's 1 second. Alright, it is just absolutely amazing. Again, this is CC avoidability. Someone's casting a fear, boom, you fade it. If someone wants to get a Hodge on you, you time it correctly, boom, you can fade the Hodge. It is absolutely amazing. If a warrior's on you with Bladestorm, you can fade, get away from it, and you won't be re-slowed because it'll just be immune by your phase shift. So it is absolutely amazing. Other stuff. Improved Master Spell, I mean, no one really gives a crap about that. Catharsis, you're not even being hit to the point where this is going to be very impactful. Purification is good against dot classes. I also love this in RBGs. Having 2 dispels, I mean, jeez, I'm already getting PTSD of Santi telling me, just dispel, 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 and like, the spell's not even on him yet to dispel him, and he's yelling dispel, like, so having 2 dispels, I can save one for, CC, I can save one for any other effects. Constantly dispelling, having 2 charges of this definitely does make the difference, and having that 5% shield at their maximum health definitely does add up in the long run. Divine Ascension is only something I take in Arena. I'm not really messing around with this in RBGs too much. Basically, you fly in the air and you can cast all your holy spells, and they'll have a 50% additional range. Alright, this is good against melee comps or against like Ret Warrior, some melee that cannot keep you on the ground. Alright, if you get charged when you Divine Ascension, you won't go up. If you get Death Grip, they'll Death Grip you back down. If you get CC'd on the way up, it'll stop the cast. So it definitely is pretty sketchy, but that's never really gonna happen consistently. So yeah, you'll fly in the air and you'll be a little angel fella, and yeah, you can just cast Holy Word spells. You can cast your Serenities, your Holy Fires, you can do damage with, Divine Ascension. It's pretty good. Thought Steal, I mean, Thought Steal is kind of like, has always been, it's not like Dark Simulacrum, where it's actually good. Thought Steal for me has always just kind of been like that one spell that is there to make things more complicated. Yeah, there's so many other good talents in Thought Steal. Absolute Faith is something I'm only taking for RBGs for 2 maps. It is Lumber Mill and Eye of the Storm. Specifically Eye of the Storm the most, because my team has the world record for getting knocked off the most in RBGs. So Absolute Faith kind of helps salvage their mistakes. Alright, if it's a Warlock trying to port into a Hunter explosive trap, boom, that's a guaranteed knockoff. I'll grip them before the port goes off. And everyone's like, damn, Big Tuna, that's so cool, you're so amazing. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm awesome. Ray of Hope is okay. The reason why Ray of Hope back then was a little bit better was because, again, you had pretty bad throughput. So having Ray of Hope to have another safety cooldown, because again, this is when Lightwheel was complete bonzo beans. Ray of Hope kind of acted as like the safety net for someone. You pump heals into Ray of Hope, make sure it's a positive ray, and they'll be topped in, once it is over. But right now, I feel like you don't really need Ray of Hope anymore. I feel like your throughput is just fine enough to where you don't need to spell anymore. So that's kind of where I stand on it. Greater Heal, not something you're taking at all. If you really want to take in RBGs, you can. It's pretty funny, just having a 2.7 second cast time and just not being interrupted. It's pretty great. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a meme talent. If you want to run it, run it. If you don't, then don't. Sanctified Ground is a good talent. I love this in RBGs. We are always having some Mystery Reavers in our RBGs, so placing this on top of their face is very beneficial. They cannot be interrupted or silenced for 5 seconds, and Mystery Reavers have to cast everything in order to get the healing out. So I place this on top of their face, and it's like, woo, yeah, get those big old soothing mists, enveloping mists out there, man. Free of charge. All right, Sanctified Ground, coming in clutch. In Arena, this is impactful for honestly anyone. If I don't really want to bait kick every single cast, I'll play Sanctified Ground and I'll just have that bit of safety for 5 seconds, just not being interrupted. I can get those flash heals out willingly, and it's pretty damn nice. I especially love this against DKs, because DKs I can't move. I can't escape from DKs. So, if I'm not going to move, I might as well play Sanctified Ground because, I just place it on top of my face, and I'll have some interrupted immunity. Alright, this definitely feels good against DKs. Also Rogues as well, Asa Rogues. Yeah, this is a great talent. If you want to play it. I'd say it has more value in 2s. In 3s, I feel like I don't really need it as much because, I mean, it's 3s. You can bait better kicks because not everyone's going to be kicking you 24/7, whereas in 2v2s, it's a healer race, and it's only you who's casting, so that's why I like Sanctified Ground a bit more. But in 3v3, I'll play, I won't play with this as much. All right, but 2v2 definitely RBG is 100%. You know, when I do need it. Holy Ward. I mean, this hasn't. This is okay. 2v2 maybe, but otherwise it's just not something that I find a lot of benefit from. It could be purged off instantly. 45-second cooldown. I mean, you know, you already have CC avoidability, so I don't really feel like you need Holy Ward. But if you don't want to play it, sometimes I play it in RBGs for the memes. You know, I'll place this on the Vladen so he doesn't get mortal coiled on his wings every single time. You know, you can do that. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not really playing with this talent all too much. Healing rotation, fairly simple, alright? It's going to be our Renews, followed by Prayer Mendings, followed by our Serenities, Instant Cast Flash Heals, Holy Word Sanctify, Empowered Life. Renews is something that's very important, not only for your tier set, but because we have a talent called Renewed Faith. Your healing on allies with your Renew is increased by 6%. That is massive, alright? So make sure your Renews are up. Don't let them fall off. They're purged. Get them back up. All right. It is incredibly beneficial that you have these on everyone before you do any other bit of healing. All right. Our Prayer Mending is still one of our more impactful heals. All right. Prayer Mending is just free healing. I placed this on this guy. Boop. It's going to be constantly bouncing around to everyone. All right. It's just free healing you don't have to think about. So make sure you're pressing this whenever it comes off cooldown. See, it's coming off cooldown right now in 3 seconds. I'm going to look at this guy. I want it to be on that guy. Boom. Prayer Mending to your face. It's going to bounce it around. It's going to give you healing. It's going to give you more renews through Benediction. It is absolutely amazing. And then you have Serenity. Serenity is going to be your main heal, all right? This is your throughput healing. This is what's going to be healing people for, you know, 300k, 400k, 700k. You know, we're constantly getting our Serenities out there. And of course, we do want it to use them when we have our Sacred Reverence procs. If we don't have any procs of this, if we have to use Serenities, you know, that's okay. You gotta do what you gotta do. Tough times call for tough decisions. So if you gotta use them without these glorious procs to make it, you know, free of charge, then you know what? By all means, do it. You gotta do what you gotta do. Otherwise, we are casting flash shields as well. We're getting so many procs and flash shields from our, you know, healing spells that, you know, we are definitely using this after Serenities. I'd say prioritize Serenity more because Flash Shield does reduce the cooldown of your Serenities. So that's why I'm saying prioritize Serenity over your Flash Shields. So if you have a charge of Serenity off, then you're going to be filling in the gaps with those instant cast Flash Heals. I haven't gotten one yet because the game hates me. But yes, Flash Heal is very important. And then Sanctify being kind of down there in the rotation for a good reason. It is not a spell that is going to be used rotationally because it's going to hurt you if you're just spamming Sanctifies for a couple reasons. We're only using this for specific situations, which is pretty funny because, you know, it's a healing spell, but we're only using this not for the healing, alright, for other situations. One of them is for Divine Image. Divine Image is a spell right here. A very impactful spell. When you use a Holy Word spell, you summon a image of a Naru at your side for 9 seconds. Whenever you cast a healing spell or damaging spell, the Naru will cast a similar spell, alright? This is very, very impactful. Let's say I get my Sanctify out here. Alright, get my Sanctify out here, boom. If I got my little Naru friend right here, if I'm to press Renew on this guy, you can see it applies a hot Tranquil of Light. If I do Renew, or if I do Serenity on this guy, it'll heal this guy for another chunk of healing. Alright, it's just basically going to replicate whatever spell you're using, but with a very less amount of efficiency. But it is still, it's extra healing, it's extra throughput, it's extra damage if you're using this on Holy Fire or Smites. It is absolutely amazing. So that's kind of one reason we're using Sanctify for. Other is LOS. If your DPS are like mine, and they just don't want to be anywhere near you or anywhere in your line of sight, they're behind this pillar right here. I'm running up, I can't find the angle on them. I could just Sanctify, boom. I can get some bit of healing on them, get my renews on them, and yeah, when I finally do come in their angle, alright, then yeah, the game can continue. But yeah, this is used for LOS, so that's a good thing. You also are using this for RBGs, because RBGs, everyone stacked up together, you're going to get a lot better Sanctify value. But that's RBG specific. When it comes to arenas, not going to be the same story. And then if you're having trouble with casting, you know, if there are times you got to cast your flash heals, but you're not getting casts off, you're constantly getting kicked, you know, you just can't find the time to cast, you're constantly getting micro CC, whatever, then that is the time where, you know, your Sanctifies are going to have to come out And yeah, it's an unfortunate situation to, rely on those Sanctifies to get that healing out when you don't have the Serenities, but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. Damage rotation, very simple. You have your dot, all right. Shadow Word Pain is going to be on everyone. That is, by default. You have Holy Fire and you have Chastise. You have Smite. What order are we using this in? I'd say, I really send your Chastise whenever you want to. All right. Chastise is important for two reasons. One, it does good damage. I mean, it does like 150k damage. That is absolutely amazing. That is because I do have my charged souls, and of course I am in combat right now. So yeah, it's doing around 150k damage. Is absolutely amazing. And what this does is whenever I do chastise someone, I'm getting Imperial Blaze procs. My next two Holy Fires will be instant cast. Alright, so I've been boom, stun him, Holy Fire, Holy Fire. I'm getting CDR on my Chastise, and that's kind of what we're working around with in terms of our offense. It's going to prioritize Chastise, then your Holy Fires, then your Smites. Alright, Smites is last because Smites only really is used to reset the cooldown of your Chastise, which is why that's kind of like the last resort. Other than that, if you have your Holy Fire up, you're going to be prioritizing Holy Fire casts. And yeah, my Chastise is back up. Boom, Holy Chastise. Boom, Holy Fire, boom. Alright, we're kind of just cranking as the demo go here. Alright, it's not hard at all. It's only 3 buttons for your damage rotation. If you can't follow that, you got some problems. Cooldown rotations, alright, we have a lot of cooldowns. What priority are we using them in? Well, I would say here that our cooldown rotations is going to start off with Lightwell, followed by Spirit of the Redeemer and Divine Hymn, followed by Guardian, followed by Apotheosis, followed by Symbols of Hope and Life Swap. Well, in this order, I feel like it's the best kind of a script to go about your CDs. Lightwell is going to be the first button you're going to press when the gates open. Having Lightwell down instantly, I mean, if you do get CC'd in the opener, your Lightwell is already going to be down. You're going to get some safety healing. And 2, because the faster you get it on the ground, the more, the cooldown incurs. And, that's when your Serenities and your Sanctifies will help reduce the cooldown even further whenever you are casting them. Get it on the floor as soon as the gate opens. All right, in a good position. All right, in a good position. Don't forget that. Spirit of the Redeemer and Divine Hymn. This is obviously going to be our second CD. Why is it very impactful to use this early? Well, if you use this early, if you use this before the initial CC happens, let's say, hey, let's say DK. All right, DK is kind of like the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to a bad opener, when it comes to getting CC'd. DK grips blinds you, asphyxiates you, or strangulates you. All right, it's a rough time. Lightwell is up, but it's not doing enough. Your DPS are getting crushed. Being able to Spirit the Redeemer before that grip happens, boom, for the next 9 seconds, like that entire opener from them, that entire CC opener they want to get on you, is completely denied. And you can just sit there, you can get your Divine Hymn, you have obviously all that Divine Hymn healing, you have that Divine Hymn increased healing, 30% increased healing, and then from there you're just casting flash heals in that Spirit of the Redeemer. It is absolutely amazing. That just denies any bit of setup on you and denies the first, real setup on you until their next go. Alright, it is, getting good value of Spirit of Redemption like that is game changing. If you get grip blinded, maybe if that blind breaks early before the Strangulate or Asphyxiate, you can just, hopefully you can get a Spirit Redeemer in there. Otherwise, yeah, if you're getting this off after that CC is done and over, not saying there's no point, but the effectiveness is definitely not as high as if you were to pre-Spirit of the Redeemer, that first initial CC chain. Alright, which is why this is going to be our second cooldown in use. Alright, next is Guardian. Guardian is kind of that cooldown that you can throw willingly. Use it very early. I used to hold Guardian for like that really tight situation, but that only did me disservice. Guardian, of course, we're only using this for the 60% increased healing received. That is it. We do not want Guardian to proc. We want Guardian to not proc at all. We don't want Guardian to work as intended. If it doesn't work as intended, we'll get it back down to a 1-minute cooldown, and we can constantly have Guardian up every single minute for every single scary moment in the game. Alright? That is why we're using Guardian pretty early, because it's only used for the 60% healing increase. So, use your Guardians pretty well. Alright, don't hold off on them. Using if they're like at like the 50% mark, that's when I'll send Guardian. Otherwise, I'll just keep them topped whenever I need to. Apotheosis. Apotheosis is the cooldown that we're going to be using for throughput specifically. Whenever you pop Apotheosis, make sure you have a charge consumed of your Serenity, of your Sanctify, of your Chastise, because, sorry, burped, just to really milk the whole value of getting an extra charge. You don't want to be at 2 charges and then you pop Apotheosis and you don't get that extra charge because you're already capped on your charges for your Holy Word spells. Pretty lame. Alright, make sure you have a charge consumed before your Apotheosis. And yeah, Apotheosis is just going to be the cooldown of getting you more Serenities, which in turn means more throughput. So that is pretty amazing. You can use it offensively too. There's kind of 2 ways you can use Apotheosis. It's for offensive priority or healing priority. If I need the healing, I'll focus on getting my Serenities back off cooldown every time with Apotheosis. But if we have the upper hand in damage, I'll use Apotheosis with the main intent of getting as many Chastise off as I can. I'll Chastise, Apotheosis, Chastise again. I'm constantly getting these Holy Fires. I'll smite whenever I need to, get Chastises again. And I'll Holy Fire. Like, I'm just getting so much damage through Apotheosis. So it's whatever the situation calls for is when you're going to be using it for whatever situation. If I have the upper hand, I'm using it for damage. If I need the healing, I'll use Apotheosis, prioritize the healing benefits over its Chastise benefits. Symbols of Hope is something that, you're not really going to be sitting on too much. I used to do this a lot. I used to just kind of sit on it for like the end of the game and then pop this. That did me a very bad disservice. I'll use this pretty much very early in the game. So long as my DPS have a cooldown, have a defensive that is on CD, Retaliation, Divine Protection, Dark Pact, whatever. As long as they have some CD that's on cooldown, I will use Symbols of Hope. Even if I do or do not have Desperate Prayer on cooldown, I will use Symbols of Hope. Alright, I want to use this early. So for the next go, we have our wall again. Saving this is just kind of pointless. Just getting this out early is going to be beneficial. I'll also use this for one situation and one situation only, and it's if I don't have my trinket. If I don't have my trinket and my DPS don't have any bit of defensives, that's when I will find a safe spot and get my Symbols of Hope off. This gives their wall back for my trinket that I do not have. Boom, I get stunned. I'm getting crowd controlled, I'm getting crowd controlled, I'm being CC chained, but my DPS has at least a defensive back to buy me some bit of time to get him back when I can play the game. So that's when I use Symbols of Hope. Life Swap is obviously your last resort, alright? Unfortunately, there are some situations where you gotta Life Swap earlier and you have other CDs available. Void Shift should not be used unless you have nothing on the table, alright? If you're using this when, you have stuff like Guardian or, Apotheosis or anything like that, that was either a pretty bad Void Shift or, or the game itself is not looking good. If their DPS are just ripping you apart, alright, if you have to force swap very early. But yeah, this is going to be your last cooldown, ideally. Basically what this does is it'll swap your HP with your target's HP, only bringing you down to 20% HP if their health is lower than that. If they're literally at 1% HP and you life swap, it won't put you to 1% HP. It'll put you down to a safety net of 25% naturally, which is pretty good. And it'll give them your entire HP pool, whatever you have remaining. So yeah, this is something you're going to be saving your trinket for. If you have to trinket before it, that's obviously a very bad situation. But having trinket for Void Shift is the last resort for saving someone. Other than that, you're just focusing on those Serenities, hoping those Serenities will keep your team topped up. Positioning, where do you want to be positioned during the game? Honestly, you can be wherever. Holy Priest is kind of like that one healer where, hey, you don't have to cast really all that much. Your offensive pressure also, requires you not to cast. I'm like, hey, I'm out in the open. Hey, I see this druid. Let me stun him. Boom. Who's our kill target? This DH. Boom. Boom. You can be a lot more free in the open with Holy Priest. If you still have this, kind of natural healer mentality of being at a pillar, healing and whatnot, that's completely fine. There's nothing really wrong with that. But Holy Priest has the potential to kind of be out in the open and, really push in their offense in their backline as well. You can take enemy pillars if you really want to. I do that a lot of times, and that helps me set up, stun fears a lot easier. So yeah, being on the open or staying at the enemy's pillar is either beneficial. You know, so do either one. It is pretty amazing. You don't have to be at your own pillar being all scared and like, you know, I don't want to get CC'd or whatnot. You have CC avoidability, which is why it is so easy to be out in the open as much as you can be. You can Shadow Word Death Fears and break on damage, crowd control effects. You can fade cyclones and hodges and all that other scary stuff. You know, you have Spirit of the Redeemer. You know, when it's coming off cooldown, like you can be on the open and you will play it just fine. All right, you're not gonna be trained. You're not gonna be, you know, in real danger. You're just gonna be out in the open doing the things you love doing, casting, damaging, all that good stuff. Kiting and self-sustain. If for the unfortunate situation that you are being trained for whatever reason, again, mostly in 2v2s, you have obviously some bit of self-sustain to kind of help you with that. One is being Desperate Prayer. Desperate Prayer increases your maximum health by 25% and also heals you for that amount. All right, pretty great. Using this very early. A lot of people really hold off on Desperate Prayer, which it's not a button you want to hold off because, again, you do also want to get Symbols of Hope value, and you want to make sure Desperate Prayer is off cooldown to or is on the cooldown so you can get another charge of it, basically. But yeah, Desperate Prayer is going to be, you know, one of the first buttons you're going to give if you are being focused. You have ways to move. You have Angelic Feather. I would recommend making a Angelic Feather macro that places it directly at your character, so I don't have to, you know, click it and then place where I want it to be. I can just press it and boom, I'm just getting movement speed. It's basically just like burst of speed in what, Cataclysm, whenever that rogue spell that was completely broken and made rogues the best flag carriers. Yeah, it's basically just burst of speed with the macro, so that is pretty darn nice. We also have, you know, other stuff. We have Chastise. We can use this for peels. Chastise has so many uses when it comes to offense. You can use it for, you know, damage. You can use it for, you know, crowd control. You know, for CC chains. You can use it for peels, right? You're getting focused, you know, you, again, casting those Holy Novas, getting that Chastise back off cooldown. This warrior's in my face, boom, fuck off, alright? Angelic Feather, boom, I'm gone. Alright, you can't catch this, I'm damaging you as well, alright? Use it for peels, again, that is absolutely amazing. Using it for peels definitely just helps you. I mean, my DPS, you know, their peel game for Big Tuna is not that strong, at least in the arenas. In RBGS, it's a lot better, but in the arena, you know, I'm fighting my own battles, alright? I take care of them, but when it comes to me, man, I'm just chopped liver. So using those for peels for yourself is definitely something that you want to look into. And then, of course, you have Fade. Fade also removes slows, whereas right here, Fade removes all snare effects from you. Again, Fade, you don't have to run Phase Shift in order to remove slows. It already does that naturally. Phase Shift just makes you immune for that 1 extra second. So yeah, that stuff is just gonna, learning how to use them, not really throwing them away, is going to help you during those melee encounters if you are being focused or the kill target. So yeah, just make sure you know how to use them. And yeah, it is pretty hard for someone to catch up to Holy Priest when they know how to kind of be super slippery like that. And that concludes Big Tuna's guide video. Alright, hopefully you walk away with some bit of added knowledge for Holy Priest. I know I stuttered a lot in this video, I apologize, I am a stuttering Nancy. But if you have any other questions, I am more than happy to answer them in the comments. But boys and gals, my voice is slowly fading away, so I bid you a farewell and hope to see you guys again on the Big Tuna channel for more insane, amazing, high quality content. And I hope to see you guys in the next life. Alright, peace.